How about now? No, my microphone was off. Fizz, thank you for that. Not sure why my had the mic down for a second. What's going on, Dave? What's going on, Fizz? What's going on, Danny? How are you guys doing? Pretty crazy market right now, right? We have the Dow, down 1.28. We have the Nasdaq down 1.58. We have the S&P down 1.38. So every major index is down. We have a quick right. There's a little bit of everything happening, just like in every time we see a red day, right? There's so much uncertainty in the market. So first, just COVID cases, right? Your COVID cases, the Delta variant remain continue to increase, right? We have stuff like that. I do believe the biggest is the investor fear. Between the Hong Kong equity saw a big sell-off during the Asia trading sessions on Monday. The benchmark hang with embattled developers of China Evergrande Group on the brink of defaults. So we're seeing some real estate, I believe, effects happening international. And then the second thing, I do believe this is gonna we're gonna have a red day today, and I believe it's gonna stay like this for the almost maybe Tuesday and Wednesday, because the Federal Reserve on Tuesday will begin a 2-day meeting. And investors are obviously worried that the central bank will begin to signal it's ready to start pulling away monetary stimulus. So I believe these are the two major reasons. What's happening overseas and the meeting happening tomorrow and then Wednesday. So I do believe volatility will stay in the market. I would honestly be surprised if we finish green today. I think we are going to stay around these levels, right? Like I mentioned, Nasdaq down 1.65, down 1.4, and S&P down 1.5 as well. My portfolio is definitely taking a hit today. And if you guys watch my video on 4 stocks, what's going on, AC? On 4 stocks that I wouldn't mind buying right now, I'm happy. I do think Facebook, AMD, and CrowdStrike might make it. I still haven't. I like Activision at these levels, right? But I wouldn't. Would be a new position in my portfolio. If you guys didn't watch Saturday, I released the 4 stocks I'm planning on buying: Facebook, Activision, AMD, and CrowdStrike. Out of those 4, Facebook, AMD, and Crowd are in my portfolio at the moment. And I think those are the ones I'm liking right now the most. And Facebook, Facebook, I think could give us, all of these are giving us, I believe we'll have a better buying opportunity. For me, these are still dollar cost averaging times, right? We can see Facebook is still next to its short-term moving average, really far from its medium term. Same with AMD, right? Most of these, I believe we can definitely see a bigger pullback. For me, these are dollar cost averages. But these 3 stocks, if we definitely see any pullbacks to these levels, I wouldn't mind entering a big position. Maybe not on AMD because I already have a big player. But Facebook and CrowdStrike, 2 companies I really want to make a big movement in my portfolio if ever given the opportunity. What about TTWO? TTWO, Take-Two Interactive. Take-Two Interactive, definitely seen a big drop too. I think I did a video earlier last week, Fizz, where I took a look at EA Games, Activision, and Take-Two Interactive. I think it's just more from where I know, and I know a lot of EA games. I know a lot of Activision games. Even though we have Red Dead Redemption and what else do they have? Grand Theft Auto. I'm not much of a player of those games. So I guess this is why Take-Two Interactive sometimes doesn't get too much love for me, Fizz. Just because it's definitely not a product I see too much. For me, for example, Activision, Hearthstone, I'm constantly playing and spending money. My wife, for example, she's like a Sims fiend, and has like every expansion. So I see that in the household, right? Both EA Games and Take-Two, and Activision. Take-Two Interactive is one I don't notice too much, even from like my brother or my cousin, right? It's usually Activision, and EA Games. But we can see. Let's see if there's anything really taking a huge hit right now. Let me take a quick look at my portfolio. Danny, you're probably gonna get it. I don't play much first-person shooters anymore. I've just become so bad at it. I'm more of just a something I don't need to be too fast in. But we can see, right, a lot of stocks are down. Upwork is down 4.2%. sitting at attractive levels. Gravity is down 4.3%, also sitting at attractive levels. Abs, 4%. AC, any insight on the Evergrande thing, Jose? I'm not watching it closely, not really worried, and it's hard to evaluate, but I do find it interesting. So let me just say, AC, that's definitely not a market I'm into or what's happening. I'm not going to try to be a professional on it. So similar to you, I'm not watching it closely at the end of the day. I do believe it will have some impact in the stocks. We are seeing it here. But how long is the impact? I'm pretty sure my diamond hands will be able to withstand any of the impact something like this would have. It's more of like buying opportunity if stock prices continue to go down. But it's something I am going to try to do a little bit more research on, AC, in the future. Maybe try to understand a little bit more on it. But right now you see everybody on Twitter kind of just becoming a master at this concept, right? It's happening overseas. I'm not going to play that game right now. All right, AC. So for you, I'm going to sit back, kind of get a little more research on it in the moment. Just try to look at what stocks I'm really interested in at the moment, right? Because right now, right, the best thing to do, guys, is just, I would say, come up with like a buying list. What are some stocks we would be very excited to own at the moment? And kind of put like a price target around some. So I definitely have a nice list. Obviously, my tier 1 stocks at first. But then I also have things like CrowdStrike I wouldn't mind adding to. Crypto getting dumped as well. Yeah, Peter, I saw that, right? I mean, ETH is kind of sitting at 3,000 levels again. Not stock, ETH price. I think, did it hit Ethereum price? Here we go. It's sitting right there next to 3K. I think Bitcoin dropped like 10% as well. Let's take a quick look. So the whole market is definitely red right now. To me, are times where I'm more dollar cost averaging. If I had a bit of money, kind of dollar cost averaging, but I do believe the market can continue to be more volatile. So in the future there might be buying opportunities. So I wouldn't use all my money at once. I feel like sometimes people get too excited and they go shopping too early or use all their money at once. I think just like dollar cost averaging over a few days during big dips is also a great move. Danny, love to get more AMD and Nvidia. I definitely have seen a nice amount of investors kind of entering AMD recently. Some investors that I'm very familiar with and kind of not follow but kind of listen to. AMD is definitely looking attractive at these levels, right? 102. I mean, AMD obviously in the 90s I would like. Day 7, patiently waiting for some of my low limit buys to go through. Same mindset. I think this will continue to carry through. And right, Dave, like you mentioned, right? This scenario of what if it doesn't, right? What if this is the dip? If this is the dip and that's it, I'm okay owning and having what I have, right? It's not like I'm going to regret not buying today. I believe there will be better buying opportunities than right now in the future. So yeah, that's a great move, right? Patiently just put some on low limit buys. And if they go through, they go through. If not, just hold on to that cash for something else. AC, I don't have cash because I recently graduated and applying. AC, congratulations on recently graduating. But if I had, I would buy more Salesforce. Let's take a quick look at, let me just look at stock prices right now. CRM, right? And this is the thing, right? Salesforce definitely seen all these stocks, even though they have pulled back, they're still kind of pretty sitting next to their short-term moving average. What else do we have? Trade Desk. Trade Desk, I believe, might be a little bit better in forms of technical, sitting at great values. And this is crazy. Just a few months ago, right, or a few days ago, a few months ago, this was sitting at $90 around August. After that kind of split, it did. It kind of pulled back. Now sitting back at $70. So Trade Desk definitely looks pretty good. It's the one I don't have in my portfolio. Square's another one. Square definitely looks pretty interesting. Salesforce is quietly fairly valued too. Salesforce is definitely, it's one of those quiet movers, right, AC? Salesforce for I think a whole year only was sitting at those low 200s, and then out of nowhere it kind of like jumped up. Salesforce definitely interesting. I want to say it's probably one of those slower ones, but it's definitely provided great returns for investors. Roku definitely seems interesting for sure at these levels. At 316, this one looks pretty attractive. Look at it again. Technicals is the last things. The only reason I'm looking at technicals is because these are stocks I've looked at plenty of times fundamentally wise. But look, Roku right now sitting very attractive at levels 315. It's bounced off here a few times. So Roku looks, I like Roku a lot, AC, at this level. Thank you for this one. And the last one you mentioned was Tesla. Let's look at Tesla. Tesla is one of those that has kind of just been sitting around these price points for the past, I want to say, past few months, right? Between 750s and like 600, kind of just sitting here. So Tesla definitely interesting at these levels for sure. I mean, I enjoy Tesla a lot for their technology wise, right? I have a small position in Tesla, nothing crazy from here pumping the stock. But as I want to say as an engineer, they definitely have some strong engineers, and it's super impressive the team they have developing new concepts. I don't think I would ever want to work at Tesla. I know their engineers have crazy hours, and I'm nowhere near. I would never want to do that, but still, pretty impressive team over there. But let's see, what else do we have? Any really? I want to see. Let's take a look. Any crazy buying opportunities at the moment? Last week was Peter. Last week was somewhat red. This one's starting quite red. Interesting how it will continue. For sure, Peter. Peter, are you looking at buying anything? And Dave, I'm actually curious. What are some of the low buying limits you have? Are you looking for? I know you have some dividend plays, right? In your portfolio. Are you looking for more dividend stocks to add low limit buys? Are you looking for more growth story? Are you looking for more of the FANGs? What are you looking? What do you have some of those low limit buys in? Right now we can see Upwork, like I mentioned, at apps. I think apps could definitely see a nicer pullback as well, but it's down 4.8%. Celsius is a beast. This one has yet to really take any form of pullback. But look at it. It is super overextended. I definitely could see more of a pullback, but not a guaranteed. Unity sitting at 131, still very attractive. Compared to, and let me just say this, compared to how Twitter and I want to say everybody is kind of acting right now, I honestly thought this pullback was going to be a lot worse. Obviously, we're still early in the market, and I might have just jinxed it. But at the moment, nothing seems like it's where I'm going to go and load the truck at the moment. Is anybody buying heavy right now, or are you guys just waiting? Like my portfolio, right? It's down 2.65% right now. Not the worst, but not the best either. I mean, I'm still sitting at levels higher than I was a few weeks ago. Right? So it's still food and gravity are pretty much the only two I'm liking to buy at these levels. Oh man, Fizz, what's going on with Peloton? You mentioned it was green. Is Peloton really green at these levels? Peloton stock? No, it's not. It was green for some time, Fizz. I saw you mentioned it in the market. I've never looked at Digital Turbine though. It's the same market as TTD, right? What's the main difference? So they are in the same market, but there's within that market, right? You have your buyers of advertisements, you have your sellers of advertisements, you have those that deal with something in between, like the middleman. I forget what kind of market TTD does. They're both in the ad tech market. I do believe they hit different parts within the ad tech market. AC. I completely forget what the main difference is between them. Fizz, food and gravity, like you, yeah. I mean Peloton. Are you looking? Have you built up your full position on Peloton right now, Fizz? And guys, welcome to the stream. We can see, right, stock market is definitely taking quite a hit. To be honest, as a long-term investor, this is pretty much noise, right? I don't think anything is looking super scary at the moment, especially if you have a long-term mindset of multiple years. So let's see. Is anybody buying anything today? We have Dow down 1.48. We have the Nasdaq down 1.87. We have the S&P 500 down 1.59. Let's see. Any major things? Breaking news: U.S. to East travel restrictions for foreign visitors who are vaccinated against COVID. Nothing. You have. I'm guessing you're gonna have more tourism back in the States. Bitcoin falls as much as 10% as risky assets tumble globally. Yep. So we definitely see a hit in crypto as well. What else do we have? And I don't know if something broke. Am I still here? Yep, I'm still here. My computer just did a noise. So Lisa can't talk putting limit orders in. Can't talk putting. Oh, nice. All right. So Lisa's putting some limit orders in. What is she putting? So bought SoFi 14.6 and going to buy Skills Coin and Point Save. Nice, Lisa. In that order, that's a nice order. That's a great entry, in my opinion, for SoFi. Again, I'm not in SoFi, but I can definitely see the growth. Like I mentioned, I recently used SoFi to kind of take out a quick business loan. Fizz, Bitcoin risky? Yeah, I mean, I think everything's risky, right? All right, SoFi looking very attractive at these levels. One that's looking even more attractive, in my opinion, PaySafe, $8. This one is definitely one that I believe can. Wow. This one's looking interesting for sure. This is one that I'm debating. I'm really going in. I have to add this to something. Let me just add a color. I don't think I used light blue, so let me add light blue. But PaySafe, that's definitely a great. I really like the stocks you're going into. I'm not in coin, but I could definitely see this market still Coinbase market still continue to grow, right? I mean, as more companies come to accept Bitcoin and all these other cryptocurrencies, I do believe transaction volumes are gonna increase. I also believe with the NFT craze, people are still buying NFTs left and right, and the easiest way to transfer anything is going to Coinbase, buying some Ethereum, and then transferring it to your MetaMask. So I believe at the moment, Coinbase can still be a nice move, even though I don't have it. Skills, definitely speculative play for me. Skills wouldn't be one I would be looking at these levels. I would probably look at some bigger players on my end. So Peter, I got small on AMD, nice, PaySafe and Qualcomm last week, so no more free cash, Peter. But those are some great positions. Even though stocks might be down, I believe last week you still got some attractive levels. I'll be sitting this out unless some really good opportunities presents. Nice. And Peter, just question, good opportunities in those stocks you bought or in others? Dave Silva, over the past 3 months, I've adjusted my portfolio to be about 65% growth, 35% dividends. I'm looking to nice. That's actually pretty impressive. I like that. I like that a move more 75 to 80% growth. Dave, what are some of your biggest growth right now? I'm guessing AMD, Nvidia, Crowd, Roku, Apple, the ones you're looking to add on are probably some of your biggest players, and I like them all. Right, set some low limits on AMD, Nvidia. I love that. CrowdStrike, love it. Roku, love it. Apple is pretty. I mean, I don't have Apple, but I believe in their most recent presentation, they're really talking about moving into like the streaming content with that Apple TV. They're doing more originals. And yesterday was the Emmys, I believe, and I went to my parents' house yesterday and they were watching the Emmys or whatever it was, the Grammys, the Emmys, something. And everything was either a TV show from Apple TV, from Hulu Plus, from HBO Max, or from one of these other streaming services. So Apple definitely had some names out there. Pretty interesting for sure. Let's see, Facebook. I'm really looking at Facebook to add CrowdStrike. Come on, I wish this buying opportunity was a bit heavier. But for now, I think I'm just gonna sit back and maybe just make a quick list. The names, Fizz, the names I'm not in, which I'm interested in at lower prices. Net, Melly, Crowd. Need to do more homework on them and be ready. Melly, if I may, I mean, Fizz, I think you like Net. You might know more about Net than most of us here, just from your work. But I do like them all. I think for me it would be, if I was to do research, I would do CrowdStrike, Melly, then Net, in that order of research first. I think CrowdStrike probably has a huge market potential. Melly is definitely big already, but can definitely grow. I'm not too familiar with the Net, so that would be the last one I would look in. But I will focus on the ones I know first. So guys, feel free to let me know in the comments, right? Any stocks you guys want me to take a look at, some stocks you might have kept an eye on during previous highs. My favorite one right now, I would have to say, is PaySafe. At these levels, PaySafe is one I'm gonna continue to accumulate over time. From my portfolio, the ones I'm thinking of adding this week, CrowdStrike for sure, down 2% right now. Obviously, markets can continue to go down. Have you considered ETFs, like something that tracks the S&P or the Russell? So, Luis, I do have some. I actually have. How many ETFs do I have? I think I'm only in one ETF. The only ETF I'm in right now is Meta, and that's the only one I kind of follow. Let's see. So Meta is a round hill. I actually like round hill beta, round hill ball market. They round hill investments. They have a nice amount of ETFs that deal with a lot of markets I'm interested in. For example, esports, streaming, not pro sports, metaverse. So they definitely have. This is probably the only ETF I'm in, Luis. And it's pretty much because it holds positions that I'm very excited about, right? The top 10 holdings are NVIDIA, Roblox, Facebook, Microsoft, Unity, Snap, Autodesk, Amazon, C Limited, and Tencent holdings. Now, it seems like they've done some sell-off. I used to believe Tencent was a bit higher. They might have sold off. It seems like they actually entered into Snap a little bit more. I have to relook at some of my streams. I think we just looked at it yesterday. And they might have switched a bit out. I don't remember Snap being that high. I'm actually excited that it is because Snap is one I wouldn't mind entering in. But I like their top 10 positions, right? So, Luis, this is the ETF, one that tracks the index. I actually also do have the S&P 500, the SPY. That's because I had a meeting with my wife. We were like, okay, we want to put a little bit more money in the market on a bi-weekly basis. So we agreed. The only thing was that we agreed that extra money was going to go on just the overall market, so the SPY. So I have been building up a SPY position, but it's mainly because, hey, I wanted more money in the market. I don't care where it would have been. And the team decided that, hey, if we're going to put more money, we're going to put it in just an index. But it's not a big position at the moment. Which by I just entered with the traditional SPY. I'm pretty sure if I would have gone to with VU instead, it's a little bit less in fees. But I just went with the traditional SPY. So let's see, what else do we have? I think if one had C and Melly, one would be very safe in Latin America e-commerce and digital payments market for sure. AC, C and Melly are two very ones. I think Melly right now in Latin America is still the boss. I think we have a lot of investors that are super excited about C. I'm super excited about C. But Latin America, it's in my opinion, is still being demolished or run by Melly, and I don't see that changing too much. Danny, I need to make a list too. Danny, make a nice list and share it. I think Dave shared a nice list with AMD, NVIDIA, Crowd, Roku, Apple, Sorrents, DraftKings, and PaySafe. I'm really liking that list. Lisa mentioned a few others. Lisa, for example, talked SoFi. She talked Scales, Coin, and PaySafe. Peter mentioned AMD, PaySafe, and Qualcomm. Those are all pretty interesting for sure. Fizz mentioned Food and Gravity. Food is one I can't get too much because of the overall. I think it's a 4-in-1 and not too much volume in our ETF, but Gravity in our market. But Gravity definitely is one. C and Melly, other ones I would put on that list. Caesar, hey Jose, what's your recommendation to Huya? Did you sell your position? Caesar, at the moment, I have not sold. I haven't sold any of my position on Huya. It's definitely taking a hit. But I believe the market, right? Sometimes it's a bearish market for others, for some, and it's a bullish market for others. I think right now it's a very, very big bearish market for Chinese stocks. I have no intentions of selling any of my plays. At the same time, I have no intentions of buying at the moment. I already have a decent size of Chinese exposure with Tencent, with Huya. For me, since I put money to work on a weekly basis, sometimes just letting them chill for a bit, not really adding, not really selling, just letting them become a smaller portion of my portfolio as the portfolio grows bigger is what I prefer to do, Caesar. So that's how I'm handling Huya at the moment. I still like the overall streaming market as a whole, especially the esports streaming market. But I haven't made any changes to my portfolio on Huya. What's going on, David? Morning all. What's going on in the market today? I mean, let's see. Market getting any better, getting any worse? It seems like it tried to bounce off a lot. Right? It kind of tried to bounce off, but then now it's going back to those levels. Dow still hasn't reached its lows of the day. Nasdaq is already lower than when it opened up, and S&P is already at this lowest as well, it seems. So S&P is down 1.65, Nasdaq down 0.208, Dow down 1.56. I actually want to take a quick look at the map, see if there's anything really interesting right now. Most stocks are down, it seems, about 2%. Microsoft 1.39, Apple 2%, Google 2, Facebook around 2, Amazon. One really red is Tesla down 3.3. But at these levels, right? I mean, these are, I want to say, levels last seen a few weeks ago, right? Let's take a quick look at, for example, Tesla stock. Tesla's down almost 4% right now. But if we take a look at a month, these are still levels higher than August 30th, right? Or the same levels as August 30th. So it doesn't, I mean, it's definitely 4% drop on Tesla seems like a lot, but I mean, compared to just 2-3 weeks ago, you're pretty much flat. So I do believe sell-off, nothing too crazy at the moment, but it could get worse. It could get worse. Danny, Autodesk. Oh, Autodesk is another one I wouldn't mind putting on the list. Autodesk, I think, is definitely seeing at definitely pretty attractive levels. That 273, in my opinion, would be a very great levels. The mid 270s. So Autodesk definitely seen quite a pullback after earnings. They've seen a bit of price target decrease. Right, this is not a correction yet. Exactly, just normal stuff. Agree, AC. I think it's just normal volatility right now. But every type of news outlet is kind of making it seem a little bit more than what it is right now. Obviously, it could get worse. We're not at those levels right now, but it's definitely adding some form of volatility. Autodesk actually appeared on your Finviz scanner. Autodesk is one I'm looking. I like a lot. Right, it's a company I don't have in my portfolio, but in forms of 3D modeling, this is a profitable company. Let's take a quick look at Y charts actually. Autodesk. I mean, at these levels, this is more of like a value growth, in my opinion. EV to growth. Let's see. Don't care about Square. EV to EBITDA. EV to EBITDA 46.68, where on average, I mean, it might be a little bit high compared to where it's been, compared to its average, but it doesn't seem too insane. It's more like averagely valued, in my opinion. We definitely seen price target decrease. Autodesk to me, it's looking very interesting. High cash flow from operations, high margins, positive flow there, strong balance sheet. For me, Autodesk, the 3D market, 3D modeling market, especially in media and entertainment, I believe will continue to grow. So let's say, Peter, Jose, do you consider or maybe already have something offset the inflation? For me, Peter, no, I don't. I really don't try to do anything on inflation. To combat it, right? I mean, for me, I'm more of a growth stock market investor right now. I mean, eventually, I'm hoping to get into like the real estate market, but I don't have that kind of cash at the moment just yet. Peter, I would double down on these. I've been looking at Activision for forever, and this might be time. However, I have Coinbase, not a crypto fan, got a high price, so weights me down a bit. I see, Peter, for sure. I mean, Coinbase, I think it's gonna be very volatile. But I don't see why it can't reach its high prices in the future, right? Coinbase, I guess competition. But right now, the volatility in crypto can definitely create some form of small catalyst on Coinbase. Activision does look very attractive at these levels. AC, I only sell my Chinese stocks if part of their business gets nationalized, so the state has full control. That would be a no-go for me. Oh, great point, AC. Peter, we mentioned that. AC, right? All right, no more stuff. Anthony, what's going on, Anthony? How's it going? For Sentinel-1, it's one I haven't really followed too much. I really want to. It's the ticker S. Sprint used to be S, right? So Sentinel-1, right off the bat, recent IPO. What have we seen with recent IPOs? Doesn't mean it's a guarantee, but with recent IPOs, we usually see them come back to their previous levels. Sentinel-1 is obviously in a very hot market right now. So who knows if that ever might happen. I do believe right now, these would be levels for me. I'm not interested in it right now. I haven't done any research. But just based on this, it would be more of a dollar cost averaging time. Danny, Autodesk, Luis, let's see. Sam, that's Exxon, right? And other gas stocks have been slowing growth, plus they have a good dividend. What is your top dividend stock? Luis, what is my top dividend stocks? I don't know if I actually have a top dividend stock. Maybe Microsoft? What kind of dividend does Microsoft play? I mean, I don't know. I know I have companies that are pay dividend. I don't know if I've ever even looked at their dividends. Right? If we take a look at my portfolio, Microsoft, does Google pay a dividend? I don't think Google pays a dividend. The only ones I know that pay a dividend are Microsoft and Nvidia with that 0.000 something percent dividend. Disney used to, but I would say if I think Microsoft is the only position I have that pays some form of this decent dividend. Microsoft dividend. Yeah, about a 1% dividend right now. So yeah, I mean, for me, Luis, I'm not too. Maybe Dave. I know Dave Silva. He has a nice dividend place. I know some people are looking at AT&T at these levels in forms of dividends. They're also looking at, I guess, gas is another one. To me, the oil industry, not a market I'm too familiar with. So dividend plays are usually not my goal for there. But I know there's other big players, right? I mean, Apple is another nice dividend. Even though compared to stock prices right now, I'm pretty sure dividend yields are super low. But for me, that's definitely not my style of investing. Hey, George. George, awesome last name. George Luis Navarro. So close to my last name. Pretty awesome. Share the buy list with my brother, and he's liking crowd and pacing. Nice, nice. Your brother, man. I know your brother, Dave, is super heavy on NVIDIA, right? Yo, I wish I had his NVIDIA position. That's jealousy right there. Or envy on your brother's NVIDIA position. I know he got in super, super early. I have a small position in some, but I have no plans on adding to the oil sector. Dave. Dave, I know you mentioned you had like 20% dividend or so. What are some of the dividend plays you don't mind right now? I'm pretty sure Apple is going to be one of them, right? Because obviously stock prices have gone up and kind of decreased the dividend yield. But if you got in Apple at a cheaper levels, that dividend yield is a lot higher. George. He's been for like 8 years. That's insane. 8 years now. That is insane. Brothers goals right now. Yeah, David Becker. That's true, right? If you're looking for a dividend, REITs are definitely a great play in forms of great dividends. That's definitely an interesting market, right? One I'm not too familiar with. Especially with taxes and all that, like what's the best way? What are some of the great things to look at when looking at REITs? But I do think eventually I might start to move into somewhat in that market. Cousins, we might be. But let's see. So you're talking about InMode. Let's take a quick look at InMode. Jorge, George. I always forget which one. Go with George. But InMode. I feel like we've looked at it in the past. They design, develop, manufacture, and market minimally invasive aesthetic medical products based on its proprietary radio frequency assist. All right, so they're kind of in the healthcare market. All right, market cap $5.4 billion. Super small, right? Not big, not a decent size, right? We can see let's take a quick look at future growth. Future growth, this company is expected to grow 16.3% on average for the next 3 to 5 years. So it's a nice growth story. They are profitable and they are positive in cash flow from operations. So fundamentally, they're looking pretty good. This is also awesome. Look at them. They have plenty of cash at hands and no debt to their name. So InMode, I'm really liking it, George, in all forms of fundamentals, right? The healthcare market, maybe that's where I'm lacking a little bit in it. But fundamentally, it looks great. Strong future growth, strong earnings, strong positive cash flow from operations, strong balance sheet. I doubt they pay a dividend. Yeah, they don't pay a dividend. Let's take a quick look at maybe Y charts and actually first technicals. I'm gonna guess this is a stock that's very highly overextended, and this is definitely the case, right? InMode right now, I don't want to say it's gonna pull back, right? It's not a guaranteed. but I do believe with the stock prices at these levels, they have kind of a higher percentage, a higher risk of a pull down. The question is, when will this pull down happen? George, actually, is who was talking about InMode? Someone has been talking. Aaron, I believe, has been talking about InMode for some time. Yes, actually, there we go. Aaron just popped in. Hey, see, I'm great with names. So fundamental straight, right? And this is the one thing I've talked about InMode. And it's a perfect example why technicals is not the first thing to follow, because it looked expensive here, overextended. It probably looked overextended here, overextended here, overextended here, and look, it's over here. So technicals, in my opinion, are the last things, especially if you're bullish in the market. But it's more a time to like dollar cost average. For me, InMode, that's probably the biggest yellow flag. Let's take a quick look at Y charts if there's any information here. So very similar, right? Y charts kind of shows you that, hey, compared to where it's been in the past, it might be a bit overvalued, but again, that's only historical looking. Historical looking doesn't really give you too much forward looking. And price to sales ratio, right? This is the only thing, but this maybe their growth market has changed. There might have been major changes to this company. But at the same time, I want to say that stock price is probably the biggest yellow flag for me. But fundamentals are definitely pretty strong. So Aaron, that's so funny that you showed up just in time. AC Jose, you're not in geonomics, right? Yeah, no, definitely not in geonomics plays at the moment. Not because I'm bearish, just not a market I am interested in. Q, what's going on? Q, good morning, Q. I haven't seen you in some time, Q. I know you're always showing support and love on the video, so I just want to say thank you for that, Q. Appreciate it. Hey, Jose, are you? I also don't hold any individual stocks, but since it's hard to access, but do hold RG, as it thinks it's an important trend. What's your future plans here? So I have yet to really do a deep dive on the geonomics market, AC, but if I was really bullish in it, I think I would do the same thing as UAC. I would kind of enter with ARKG or try to look for another ETF that holds a lot of geonomics, right? There's ARK is probably the most known, but there's definitely a lot of other positions or companies out there that hold some strong ETFs. Like, for example, Roundhill, even though they don't have a geonomics, Roundhill, in my opinion, is a very unknown ETF player. But they're just not known. The metaverse is one of my favorite ETFs. They have esports, they have sports betting. So definitely try to see if there's other geonomics ETF players as well, and see if there might be interesting. So Jim, what's going on, Jim? Very interesting question coming in from Jim. Any thoughts on mortgage stocks? LDI, FOA, Architect are all at all-time lows. So Jim, let me just say, mortgage stocks is definitely not a position I'm in, not a play I go into. But let's try to take a look at some fundamentals if we can. Oh, Thermo Fisher, as a shovel company for biotech, Thermo Fisher is actually pretty good. I've actually used their products in one of my old engineering jobs. We needed to do a lot of liquid cooling, and Thermo Fisher has some great coolers that we needed that are used for cooling process. So Thermo Fisher, I think that's the company, right? They do police Thermo Fisher. I believe they do that. Maybe I'm thinking about it. Cooling, do they have cooling? Maybe they don't. Was I thinking about the wrong one? Thermo Fisher. Yes, it was actually Thermo Fisher. There was stuff like this. Yeah, these were actually the ones we would use. Recirculating coolers, or would use some kind of cool off some lasers and stuff. So pretty cool. I mean, I've used Thermo Fisher. Definitely seen it as an engineering. Don't really follow the stock. Maybe we can take a look at it. But Jim, let's take a quick look at some stocks Jim is talking about right now. I think the only one I really know to company ticker was RKT, and that's Rocket Mortgage. First thing I do want to say, right? I mean, it's sitting in forms of This is very important levels, right? I mean, there's nothing below where it's at right now. So if one was bullish, looks attractive. I'm not bullish in this market. I'm not bearish in this market either. But we can see this has definitely been hyped. Recent IPO. Rocket, let's take a quick look at fundamentals. Let's see what this company has and why should I be excited about Rocket. So I know they deal with mortgage. Rocket Companies engages in the tech-driven real estate mortgage and e-commerce business in United States, Canada. Market cap of $33.3 billion. Future growth. This company, they believe the revenue growth was super high recently. I'm guessing this is because of all the mortgages that have come out in the overall house booming. The number of house, even though prices have continued to go up, right? I do believe the number of house sales has gone down. I could be completely wrong, but I'm guessing that's why they're seeing this kind of decline in revenue, or expecting revenue decline. Even though house prices are still up, the overall amount of houses for sale have gone down. So in theory, means less mortgages. And I'm guessing that's what's driving stock prices down. Right now, earnings are positive. They are positive in cash flow from operations. So it's not a company that I believe has anything to worry about if we see financial health. Financially, they have plenty of debt. I'm pretty sure those debt is gonna be kind of their mortgages, that they're the loans that they give. So for me, this kind of fintech market, Jim, it's definitely not a market I'm interested in. I think there's too much unknown, and it's for me, mortgage loans or loan depot are not something it's not a market. I'm more of a tech investor, right? Semiconductors. So Jim, I don't think I can give you any form of valuable opinion on this one. My apologies, Jim. George, what's going on, George? Great analysis. Thank you, thank you. I'm pretty sure you're talking about InMode there, and not about what I just looked at. So let's see, Palantir. Are any of you guys into Palantir? This is actually pretty interesting. Palantir, I feel like it's super, super popular, but I barely hear anybody here talking about Palantir in the channel. But Palantir is down 2.3%. We have Bitcoin down 7.6% at the moment. SPY is still down. Dogecoin, your Dogecoin is down 10%. I'm actually surprised that's actually still in 20 cents. Ethereum is down 8%, kind of hitting that 3,000. Danny, I only trade Palantir, but I might do some longs on it. AC, I'm not in Palantir, so I do not understand the business well enough. Same, that's the same. Same for me, Palantir. Dave, you, what is you? Clear Secure. Is this Clear the other one, the one I keep talking about with Paulo, Dave? Is this that one? Shout out to Paulo. Right, and this is what we're actually, I think it is, right? Clear Secure. This is one I actually want to do more research in. That's a great ticker, you. But recent IPO, right? Recent IPO that was super overextended, but look at it now, back at its near IPO prices. This one might look interesting. Now you got me excited. So you, Clear Secure Investors Relations. I wonder if when was their last let's see some latest news from them. So if you guys are, I'm pretty sure I don't travel much. I barely travel, and if I do travel, I'm cheap and I drive. But if you are in airport travel, I'm pretty sure you have seen Clear. I'm pretty sure, I know some people have talked, they've also kind of gone into stadiums. But let's see, Tapit and Clear announced strategic partnership on September 14 to help shape and secure contactless future. Let's see. Tapit, the global cashless and data experts, and Clear, the secure identity company, today announced a strategic partnership designed to expand and extend their collective offerings for entertainment, professional sports, college, and retail sites. I feel like this one's getting slept on, and I'm also sleeping on it. We can see, right, Resi and American Express partners with Clear to provide free health pass by Clear to all Resi restaurants. I'm pretty sure those are those super fancy restaurants, though, right? Clear launches Compact Better to keep our blah 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 friction. Clear and check our partner on frictionless background check process. This is pretty interesting, right? I mean, you do background checks for everything from work, trying to get any type of loan or anything out there. And let's take a look at their recent earnings. Shareholder letter, PDF. So clear. Let's see. Revenue 55.2 million and was down 8%. Okay, so this is more of a total booking. Total bookings were up 102% to $70 million. Annual Clear Plus net retention was 80.6. All right, not too bad. We see some decrease there. Net cash flow provided by operating activities 3.4 million. So they are positive there. What is the market cap though? Use stock. Market cap is 6.07 billion. So it might look a bit expensive actually. Still might look a bit expensive, but there's definitely huge growth. 102%. Pretty interesting growth. Total enrollments. All right, this is something I have to look into. Dave, thank you for this one. This is also going to make my pink list, I think. Or whatever color I was using. Where do I add colors? I don't know how I add colors to this. Come on, let me add a damn color. Oh, here we go. Yep, light blue. All right, Dave, this one's good. I'm really liking it at these levels. Is anybody else sharing any stocks? You know, there is a new crypto coin called that I did not know, Dave. David Becker definitely did not know that. AC, have you ever looked at Intuitive's surgical great high mode growth company for the future of operations? AC, what's that stock? AC, maybe we can take a quick look at it. Ish. Intuitive. Or is it just the overall market? Intuitive Surgical. Intuitive Surgical. ISRG. Ouch. It does seem like right now, right, we're seeing a nice overextension in the healthcare market, in the growth healthcare market. Right, I mean, just like we saw InMode to some extent. Look, this is a bit overextended from its short term, very extended from medium terms. Let's take a quick look at fundamentals for this ISRG. I've never really heard about it. Design, develops, manufacture, and market Da Vinci surgical systems and related instruments and accessories in the United States and internationally. Huge market cap, $123 billion. Future growth, this company is expected to grow 12.5% on average. So a decent growth company for sure, right? They are positive in earnings, positive in cash flow from operations. So fundamentally looking pretty good. Financially also, strong balance sheet, strong cash, no debt to their name. So I do want to say very simple, right, AC? I want to say right now fundamentals look amazing. I don't know much about the business or the market they're in, but fundamentals look super, super strong, still growing at attractive levels. To me, like you just mentioned, it seems like the biggest yellow flag and very similar to like InMode, a bit overvalued compared to where it's been in the past. So for me, these are prices where more dollar cost averaging and kind of have on a watch list, and things get better. Now let's take a quick look back again at the overall market. Let's see. It's kind of just sitting at these levels. I'm pretty sure the market is gonna stay red. It's gonna wait for Wednesday to see what the minutes are for the meeting, Fed meetings. I think that's gonna play a bigger role in stock prices this week. The Fed meeting starting Tuesday and going into Wednesday. And I think at the moment, market's going to be down. NASDAQ down 2.1% right now. Pretty insane. We have NVIDIA down 3.7, it seems. NVIDIA is down a nice amount. It's actually getting closer to those 200 levels. Let's take a quick look at my portfolio one more time. So what do you know? Upwork still down 4%. Apps is down 5.6. Apps, it's crazy, right? It's down a nice amount, but we can see the stock price barely has moved. Right now, it saw a strong day on Monday. What else do we have? Sorens is back to those 100 levels. Sorens, I think 100 levels looks very good. The mid 80s looks super impressive. Unity's down 4% at 130 levels right now. I do believe there can still be a little bit more. I wouldn't look if I was you. Nvidia down 4%. Gonna go outside. But for me, right? I mean, my portfolio is down. I'm not gonna lie, it's down. Nothing to worry about, like I mentioned, right? These are levels. My portfolio are levels they were last month. Maybe next week. I might be a little bit more, a little bit more excited per se. But at the moment, nothing to worry about. AC, peace out, man. Take care. Danny, I wouldn't look if I was you. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go have some Lucky Charms after this. Peter, what are your thoughts on Pharaoh? Not sure. What are your thoughts on Pharaoh? While I share my thoughts, let's take a quick look, Fizz. Levels not seen since 2 weeks ago, right, Fizz? That is super scary. Let me take a look at the carnage. So Pharaoh, I think we talked about it a bit because I've circled it, and the only reason I would have circled it, I want to say right now at these levels is where I want to say if I was bullish in the company, where things are looking, I want to say a bit exciting, right? Definitely a lot of volume at these levels, not overextended. These are the times, say, if I'm bullish in Pharaoh, I wouldn't mind going a little bit heavier. But I don't know. Let's take a quick look at fundamentals. Pharaoh Technologies. They design, develop, market, and support. Or I do remember. They do kind of three-dimensional measurements, imaging, and realization solutions worldwide. This is definitely an important market. I want to say it's a boring market, but it's an important market, especially things for like 3D printing, for automations, for laser technologies, for numerous things where you need to be very, very precise. I can definitely see a huge market for this. Right now, super small market cap, $1.2 billion. If we take a look at future growth, it's expected to grow 12.4% on average. So not a fast grower, not a slow grower. They are positive in cash flow from operations, except in this trailing 12 months. Maybe COVID might have affected them, but they are expected to go back to positive. They are positive in earnings. So fundamentally, they are okay. Financially, also, they have $133 million in cash, no debt to their name. So fundamentally, not the worst case, right, Peter? Pharaoh, let's take a quick look. In forms of technicals, wasn't bad. I'm kind of curious in the products they deal, because I have used some 3D products in the past. I don't think it was Pharaoh that I've used. So they have, I mean, they have the full software and stuff. Filters. Start descending. I mean, they have a nice amount of software. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if something like this, a company like this, would be acquired by Autodesk. When you have some kind of softwares like this and can kind of match well to some extent, I wouldn't be surprised if Autodesk would go with some form of acquisition. They recently tried to to acquire another company, but it failed. I forget what was the name. Altium. Software, which was with printed circuit board designers for PCB design. This is another one. So super small. I've actually used their softwares in the past. But I wouldn't mind. I don't think something like this would be something a big player would, or like Autodesk, wouldn't mind purchasing, in my opinion. With a $1.2 billion market cap, fundamentals look okay. The market they're in, I do believe, is strong. Technicals look okay too, Peter. Luis, September is a bear month. Pretty interesting. It's so crazy how things work out like that. Do you think, guys, it's more like that self prophecy where everybody says September is a bear month, so everybody kind of sells off, and it does become a bear month? That's pretty weird, right? But guys, it is about to be 11 o'clock. I did start my stream early today. You know, market yet it hasn't really. I wouldn't say it's too down. Remember, as long-term investor, guys, this is pretty much just noise. When we're looking at 5 years from now, we're not gonna remember, hey, S&P dropped 1.5% on September 20th, and we all went crazy, right? This is levels right now. Hey, just make a buying list. We definitely talked about a few stocks today to add on a buying list at least. But guys, take care. Have a good day. I'll probably post some videos in the future later today. But take care. But anything, guys, let me end the stream. Peace out. Have a good day.